You don't need motivation. You need clarity. If your life feels broken, scattered, or stuck in the past, this is your moment. Because rebuilding doesn't begin with luck, it begins with discipline. In this video, you'll discover 8 brutal yet liberating rules grounded in Stoic philosophy that will help you fix a broken life from the inside out. Not by chasing comfort, not by waiting for permission, but by regaining inner control, cutting distractions, and restoring your mental discipline. The Stoics didn't believe in blaming fate. They believed in mastering your response to it. They didn't say, heal first, then act. They taught, act first, healing will follow. If you've lost your direction, your peace, or your self-trust, you are not alone. Many of us hit that wall. Some stay there, some rebuild. This video is for the second kind, for those who are done spiraling, for those ready to restart with power. You'll learn how to detach from what broke you, reclaim control over your thoughts, build a quiet, focused, unshakable routine, and most importantly, become mentally unbreakable. So if you've been looking for a way back, this is it. The way out is not loud, it's disciplined, and it starts here. Like this video, subscribe for more Stoic content, and share it with a man who needs it. Let's rebuild, not emotionally, but strategically. Let's begin. 1. Stop denying what already happened. There's no reset button, no magic moment where everything clicks. And yet, that's what many secretly wait for, the illusion that something or someone will come along and fix the mess. But a broken life doesn't get fixed by fantasy. It gets rebuilt when you finally face the wreckage without flinching. Denial isn't peace. It's a quiet war you wage against reality. It drains your mental strength and blocks emotional clarity. The more you pretend it didn't happen, the betrayal, the loss, the collapse, the more control you give to the past. A man who keeps looking at the ruins and calling them home will never begin to build again. That's where many stay trapped. In the ruins, decorating broken walls with fake hope. It's easy to say I'm doing okay, while everything inside you screams otherwise. It's easier to stay busy, to distract yourself with work, entertainment, or conversations that avoid the truth. But the longer you delay the confrontation, the deeper the fracture grows. Denial is like duct taping the leaking pipe and convincing yourself the flood won't come. You don't need more duct tape. You need to shut the main valve and rebuild the system. Stoic philosophy doesn't indulge emotional escape. It calls for clarity, however uncomfortable that may be. A Stoic doesn't say, why did this happen to me? But rather, this has happened. Now what? That shift changes everything. Because once you stop negotiating with the past, you can finally start commanding the present. When you accept what happened, not emotionally but logically, you stop bleeding internally. You gain the one thing broken men lack: solid ground. Most people believe acceptance is weakness. That's passive, but it's the opposite. Acceptance is the highest form of strength because it demands that you look at your life as it is, not how you wish it were. It's a brutal honesty that clears the fog. A man can't fix a machine until he understands where it's broken, and you can't rebuild your life while pretending it's fine. The common mistake? Equating positivity with denial. Saying, I'll be fine, while refusing to name the damage. But Stoic recovery isn't about false optimism. It's about full clarity followed by deliberate action. That's how you begin to reclaim your inner power. Think of a collapsed building. You don't repaint the rubble, you strip it bare. You walk through the damage. You acknowledge every crack in the foundation. Only then do you draw up a new plan. The same is true for your mind, your routine, and your identity. Without full awareness, any improvement is cosmetic. So what do you do right now? You name the facts. Without emotion, without excuses. I lost my job. My marriage ended. I've let myself drift. Write it down. Read it out loud. Not to feel worse, but to stop running from the truth. Because clarity is the beginning of command. Then ask one simple question. What can I still control? That's where rebuilding begins. Not in the drama, but in the decision. The past doesn't need your permission. It already happened. But your future? That's still waiting for your leadership. Don't decorate denial. Demolish it, then start stacking new stones, one disciplined act at a time. 2. Don't chase pleasure to escape pain. Pain makes you vulnerable, not just to despair, but to distraction. When your life falls apart, your first instinct won't be to rebuild. It will be to numb. You'll reach for anything that softens the edge, scrolling endlessly, ordering junk food, watching hours of empty content just to keep your thoughts quiet. But comfort can be a trap dressed as therapy. What feels like relief is often a quiet form of destruction. It doesn't fix the problem. It delays it, multiplies it, buries it under layers of avoidance. Pleasure in itself isn't the enemy. The danger is in chasing it as a way to escape the uncomfortable work of recovery. There's a difference between rest and avoidance, between choosing calm and refusing growth. When a man is at his lowest, his craving for relief intensifies. But if he surrenders to it, he gives away the little strength he still holds. Because every time you numb, you postpone clarity. Every indulgence becomes a fog between you and the path forward. We're told to treat ourselves, to give ourselves grace. And yes, grace has its place. But when grace becomes an excuse for weakness, it turns into self-sabotage. You can't rebuild a life with soft hands and blurred thoughts. You need to focus. You need friction. You need discipline. The hard truth? Comfort often kills more dreams than failure ever will. It seduces you with temporary calm while your long-term stability rots beneath the surface. Stoic philosophy doesn't glorify suffering, but it doesn't run from it either. It sees hardship as a forge, not a punishment. The Stoic doesn't run from discomfort. He uses it. While others numb their wounds, he sharpens his awareness. Because he knows the pain isn't permanent, but the habits you build while escaping it might be. If you choose distraction over development today, you'll wake up 6 months later further from yourself than before. The common mistake most people make is confusing stimulation with strength. They say, "I'm just decompressing," while their time, energy, and peace quietly evaporate. The Stoic sees this lie clearly. He knows the path out of darkness isn't indulgence, it's intention. So he builds habits that train his mind to stay with discomfort until the lesson is learned and the action becomes clear. Think of this like a broken bone. If you ignore the pain and take painkillers without setting it, it may feel better for a while, but it heals crookedly. The same applies to your life. You don't need to feel better right away. You need to fix what's misaligned. The longer you distract yourself, the longer you limp through decisions that need strength. So here's your next step. Audit what you consume when you feel overwhelmed. Ask yourself, is this feeding me or numbing me? Then, build a small system of daily discomfort. Wake up earlier than you want to. Move your body even if it's slow. Write down one thing you've been avoiding. Replace artificial pleasure with intentional discomfort. Because the pain you walk through makes you powerful. Pain you avoid makes you fragile. And fragility has no place in a man who's rebuilding from rock bottom. Choose friction. It sharpens. Choose a structure. It grounds. And choose discipline. Because it's the only thing that doesn't lie to you when your emotions do. 3. Pause before you react to chaos. Some people lose their lives in a moment. Others lose it in a reaction. Not from what happened, but from how they responded to it. When your world falls apart, your first move defines whether you begin to rise or sink deeper. And most people react too fast. They snap, scream, quit, cut off, destroy, or drown. Because speed feels like power when your emotions are screaming. But power without control is collapse disguised as action. When chaos hits, your nervous system floods. Heart races. Breath shortens. Your body begs for release. That's where damage begins, not from the pain itself, but from the lack of pause. The impulse to do something becomes a weapon you aim at yourself. People lash out in anger, say words they can't unsay, or make drastic decisions they'll regret, all because they mistook the urgency of their emotion for the clarity of reason. But they're not the same. Emotion screams. Wisdom whispers. The world tells you to trust your gut, speak your truth, do what feels right. But feelings lie, not always, but especially when you're broken. Hurt doesn't know the direction. It only knows force. And force, when untrained, destroys more than it saves. If you want to rebuild your life, you must learn to resist the rush. To step back, breathe deep, and let the wave pass, because the wave always passes. And what you do after that is what counts. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about mastering your response. It doesn't ask you to feel anything. It trains you not to obey everything you feel. The Stoic sees emotion as weather, real, present, but not permanent. He lets the storm pass before moving the ship. He doesn't make decisions when the wind is wild and the sky is blind. He waits. Not out of fear, but out of clarity. The mistake most men make is thinking quick reactions prove strength. They confuse volume with impact and speed with leadership. But what builds a man isn't what he says in the fire, it's how he holds the silence just long enough to choose the right move. That pause, that's discipline. That pause, that's clarity. And clarity in chaos is what separates the reckless from the resilient. Picture a man holding a hammer in an earthquake. Everything around him shakes. Walls crumble. His instinct says swing, break, move. But he waits, he plants his feet. He grips tighter, he finds the structure before he strikes. That's what a mental pause feels like. It's not weakness, it's the foundation of power. Now apply it. Next time you feel triggered, overwhelmed, or furious, don't trust the first urge. Write instead. Walk instead. Wait 24 hours before replying, quitting, or exploding. Ask yourself, is this action coming from truth or from a wound? Then decide. Clarity isn't born in the noise. It comes when you quiet the internal fire without extinguishing it. Anger is fuel. Sadness is a signal. Fear is friction. But none of them is our strategy. Strategy comes after the pause. And when your life is broken, you can't afford to break it further by moving too fast. Step back, wait, choose, then act with the kind of stillness that shakes the world quietly. 4. Get out of your own head. Pain has a voice, and if you're not careful, it becomes the only voice you hear. When life breaks, your world shrinks. You begin to live inside your own mind, replaying what happened, what could have been, what you lost. The more you think, the heavier it gets, until one day, you're no longer thinking, you're spiraling. What feels like reflection is often obsession wearing a thoughtful disguise. You're not healing, you're rehearsing pain, quietly, repeatedly. Self-absorption in chaos feels justified. I need to process, you tell yourself. I need time to think. But isolation without structure is a trap. It pulls you deeper into a maze of your own making. And the worst part? You begin to believe that your suffering is somehow special, that no one gets it, that no one understands, that your story is so uniquely heavy that it can't be carried. That delusion locks you in. Because as long as you stay trapped in your mind, the world around you becomes irrelevant, and any way out feels like betrayal to the sadness you've come to identify with. But Stoic clarity cuts through that fog. It doesn't say your pain doesn't matter. It says you're not the center of it all. That doesn't mean you're insignificant. It means the world is bigger than what broke you. When you zoom out, pain shrinks. When you fixate, it multiplies. A Stoic trains himself to look up, to see the wider battlefield, the larger pattern, the open terrain beyond his wounds. He doesn't sit in the ashes asking why the fire came. He scans the horizon for where to rebuild. The common mistake is equating emotional depth with constant introspection. But healing isn't about thinking harder. It's about seeing wider. It's about stepping outside your story long enough to remember that you still have a role in others' stories too. That there are people you can serve. That wisdom can still be learned. That beauty still exists, and none of it needs your permission to keep unfolding. You just need to show up to it. Imagine being trapped in a house with mirrors on every wall. No windows, no doors. Everything reflects you. Your face, your pain, your confusion. After a while, you start to think the whole world is made of you. But outside that house, the sky moves. The trees sway, life breathes. The Stoic steps outside the mirror. He chooses perspective over pity. So here's how to shift. Get physically out of your space. Change your environment. Take a walk in complete silence. No headphones, no distractions. Pay attention to the wind, the smell of the air, and the light. Notice what's not about you. Or open a book that isn't about trauma, but about history, ideas, science. Anything that forces your mind outward. Better yet, help someone who needs it more than you today. Do something useful. Build something with your hands. Give advice. Offer presence. That's how you reset the mind, by engaging with a reality not filtered through your emotions. Because the longer you stay in your own head, the more the world becomes distorted. But when you get out, into service, into silence, into observation, you don't escape pain. You reclaim your rightful place inside something larger than it. And in that shift, your mind becomes clear. Not by force, but by perspective. Not by drowning in thoughts, but by standing firmly in what still exists beyond them. 5. Don't measure your life with someone else's ruler. When everything in your life feels shattered, the last thing you need is comparison. But that's exactly what your mind reaches for. You look at someone else's timeline, someone else's success, someone else's smile, and without realizing it, you start using their story to judge your ruins. It happens quietly. A friend posts his vacation, a coworker shares a promotion, a neighbor moves into a bigger home, and suddenly, your pain doesn't just hurt. It feels like failure. Not because of what you lost, but because someone else seems to be winning while you're rebuilding from nothing. Comparison is deceptive. It always zooms in on the best parts of others and the worst parts of yourself. It doesn't show you the chaos behind their calm, the debt behind their car, the conflict behind their relationship. It convinces you that you're behind, that you're broken, and that everyone else has figured it out. But the truth is, you're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. And worse, you're using their ruler to measure a life they don't live in. Yours. The world tells you to be inspired by others, but inspiration turns toxic when it turns inward as inadequacy. The more you measure sideways, the less you move forward. You start adjusting your pace based on people who aren't even running your race. You start chasing things you never wanted just to feel less behind. That's not rebuilding, that's drifting. That's losing your path while trying to stay visible in someone else's spotlight. Stoicism rejects that trap entirely. It teaches you to measure yourself by your own standard, your own process, your own capacity. The Stoic doesn't care if others succeed before him or beyond him. He's not blind to their journey, but he refuses to make it a benchmark for his own. His only metric is this: am I more disciplined, more calm, more clear than I was yesterday? That's progress. And in the Stoic world, progress isn't a performance, it's a private contract between you and your future self. The mistake most people make, especially when rebuilding, is assuming success must look a certain way. That if you don't have the car, the partner, the job, the recognition, then you're not really growing. But growth doesn't announce itself, it accumulates. Quietly, patiently. It shows up in how you respond to irritation, how you carry silence, and how you choose logic over impulse. And none of that is visible from the outside, which means none of it needs approval. Picture two houses being built. One has flashy scaffolding, fast workers, and loud music. The other is slower, quieter, but its foundation is twice as deep. From the street, the first looks more impressive, but when the storm hits, the second one stands. That's your life. Don't build fast to look strong. Build deep to stay standing. Here's how to take back your focus. Unplug from the feed. Limit the scroll. When you catch yourself comparing, ask, what does this have to do with the discipline I promised myself? If it's not part of your blueprint, it doesn't belong in your mind. Redirect your energy. Track what you control. Rejoice in what's yours to build, even if no one sees it yet. Because the moment you stop measuring your life by theirs, you reclaim the space to rebuild it with strength, purpose, and peace. Quiet progress doesn't need applause. It just needs consistency. 6. Kill the fantasy of the perfect comeback. Everyone wants the big moment, the dramatic return, the applause, the day when everything clicks and the world realizes you're back, stronger, sharper, untouchable. But that fantasy is exactly what's stopping your real comeback. Because real rebuilding doesn't look like a movie. It looks like silence. It looks like making the bed when no one is watching, showing up on time when no one cares, doing reps in an empty gym, writing when no one reads. It's slow, boring, repetitive, and that's why most people never make it back. They're waiting to feel epic instead of choosing to be consistent. The idea that you need some grand gesture to restart your life is a myth sold to the weak. It gives you permission to wait, to plan endlessly, to say not yet. But the truth is, you don't need a cinematic moment. You need momentum, a shift in motion. One small step, done again tomorrow, and again after that. No fireworks, just friction. And it's that friction that builds strength you can trust. The lie that ruins most comebacks is this: if I can't do it right, I won't do it at all. That's ego talking. That's the craving for admiration, not growth. You're not here to impress, you're here to reconstruct. Piece by piece, brick by brick. The comeback isn't loud, it's built in silence, one action at a time under pressure, without praise. And the man who accepts that is the one who makes it through. Stoic thought rejects theatrics. It focuses on what's durable, what's earned, what's repeatable. A Stoic doesn't announce he's coming back, he just begins, quietly, with resolve. Because the goal isn't attention, it's internal control. And that control is built when you stop needing a clean slate and start working with whatever is still in your hands. No delay, no perfection, just motion. The mistake most men make is waiting for the perfect mood, the right time, the big burst of clarity. But that moment rarely comes, and even if it does, it fades fast. Because external highs don't build internal systems. Only repetition does. If you want a better life, it won't arrive in one decision. It will emerge from hundreds of invisible ones, done without applause, without proof, without fanfare. Imagine trying to light a fire in a storm. You don't wait for calm skies. You shelter the flame, strike again and again, and protect it with your body. You crouch low, quiet, focused, disciplined. That's what it looks like to rebuild. That's what it means to kill the fantasy. So here's your move. Drop the image of the perfect comeback. Stop designing your return. Start doing the next task, however unglamorous. Wake up earlier than you need to. Write even when the words aren't good. Move your body even if you're tired. Stick to your rules even when no one's watching. Because you're not performing. You're reconstructing. And the life you build in silence becomes the fortress you live in when the world gets loud again. This isn't about a moment. It's about mastery. And mastery doesn't come from inspiration, it comes from execution. Over and over and over. Until the comeback no longer needs to be announced, because it's already happening. In every choice you make without witnesses, in every act you repeat without applause. That's how you rise, quietly, relentlessly, for real. 7. Protect your energy like it's all you have. When your life feels like it's falling apart, your first instinct is to do more. Answer every message, keep up appearances, fix everything at once. But here's the brutal truth. You're not a machine. You don't have unlimited fuel. And when you're rebuilding from nothing, energy isn't just a resource, it's your survival. Every thought, every decision, every emotion consumes it. And if you don't guard it ruthlessly, you'll have nothing left for what actually matters. People romanticize being strong for everyone. They wear exhaustion like a badge. But being everything to everyone is exactly how you lose yourself. Every conversation that drains you, every task you say yes to out of guilt, every internal debate you replay 10 times, it costs you clarity. It costs you focus. And when your energy is already fractured by grief, loss, or failure, those small costs add up fast. This is why burnout hits hardest during recovery. Not because you're lazy, but because you kept giving energy to things that weren't feeding you back. The world rewards constant motion. It tells you to keep grinding, keep proving, but a man rebuilding his life doesn't need to move fast. He needs to move wisely. Stoicism flips the modern script. It teaches conservation over compensation. The Stoic doesn't try to win by overextending. He wins by withdrawing from chaos, filtering inputs, and choosing where to place his limited strength with ruthless precision. The mistake people make is thinking boundaries are selfish. But boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They let in what aligns. They block what depletes. You don't owe explanations for who drains you. You don't need approval to choose peace. In fact, the more you explain yourself, the more you waste the very energy you're trying to protect. A Stoic doesn't waste effort defending his silence. He uses it as a shield. Imagine carrying a leaking bucket up a mountain. You stop to fill it with water, only to lose it drop by drop with every step. That's your energy when you say yes to every request, scroll through every distraction, and stay in every draining dynamic. The goal isn't to carry more. It's to seal the leaks. Only then does the effort start to matter. So what does this look like in practice? You take inventory. 3 people you need to distance yourself from. 3 habits that waste your mental clarity. 3 topics you will no longer argue about. Then you apply silence like armor. You respond less, you explain less, you protect your mornings, you design routines that don't allow chaos in. You don't just hope for peace, you engineer it. A Stoic knows emotional resilience doesn't come from raw willpower, it comes from structure. He doesn't try to outlast noise, he eliminates it. He doesn't try to win every battle. He chooses the ones that preserve his direction. And when the world screams for reaction, he chooses calm. Not because he's passive, but because he knows his attention is power, and he refuses to give it to the undeserving. If you're rebuilding your life, act like energy is gold. Don't trade it for guilt. Don't waste it on conflict. Don't spend it on explanations that lead nowhere. Invest it only in what restores your foundation, discipline, clarity, and the few people who truly help you rise. That's not selfish, that's strategy. That's how peace is protected, not found. 8. Don't wait to feel ready. Move anyway. There's a dangerous idea floating around that says you need to feel confident before you act, that you should wait until you've healed, until the doubt is gone, until you've figured it all out. But life doesn't pause while you get ready, and rock bottom doesn't send a calendar invite when it's time to climb out. The longer you wait to feel ready, the more that waiting becomes your new identity. Hesitation disguised as healing, delay masked as strategy. The truth is brutal but freeing. You don't get ready before the act, you get ready by doing it. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a byproduct of movement. When you sit still, fear grows. When you act, it shrinks. Most people confuse clarity with confidence, thinking they can't start until they feel certain. But Stoicism cuts through that illusion. The Stoic doesn't act because he feels good. He acts because he has chosen to lead himself forward, regardless of the emotional weather. He moves through uncertainty, not around it, because he knows that hesitation is the enemy of personal power, and that life obeys momentum, not mood. The most common mistake people make after failure is waiting for the comeback to feel like momentum. They want the surge, the motivation, the fire. But motivation is a cheap fuel. It burns fast, then vanishes. You can't rely on it when everything's gone. All you have is discipline. And discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It only asks, what's the next right move? And will you do it? Imagine standing at the bottom of a dark staircase. You can't see the top. You're tired. You're bruised. You don't know how many steps there are. But here's the truth. You don't have to see the whole climb. You only need to take one step. And when that step is solid, you take another. Still uncertain. Still afraid, but still moving. Eventually, action replaces fear. Effort replaces anxiety. Identity is rebuilt, not from thinking about the climb, but from doing it again and again until the man at the top is no longer the one who fell. A Stoic understands that the mind won't always cooperate. Waiting for emotional permission is just a softer form of giving up, so he moves first. And by moving, he becomes someone who can carry more. That's how you rebuild, not by feeling ready, but by doing things that make you stronger, whether you feel like it or not. So what now? Start the thing you've been putting off. Even if it's small, even if it's messy. 5 minutes of effort beats 5 hours of rumination. Wake up and act like a man who's already building, not one still waiting to begin. Get uncomfortable. Stay consistent. Keep your word to yourself. Not just when you're confident, but especially when you're not. Because in the end, nobody rises from rock bottom by thinking harder. They rose because they moved, and they kept moving. And they stopped asking permission from a feeling that was never designed to lead. Readiness is a reward, not a requirement. And every quiet, disciplined step forward, especially when you don't feel like it, is what makes you unshakable. Rebuilding your life is not a moment. It's a mindset. And these 8 rules aren't just ideas, they're tools. Discipline over emotion. Clarity over chaos. Structure over story. You don't rise by waiting. You rise by moving forward when no one claps, by protecting your energy when no one understands, and by committing to action when your emotions tell you to pause. The path out of a broken life doesn't begin with perfection. It begins with truth. Accept what happened. Stop numbing the pain. Guard your attention. And above all, refuse to let comparison, hesitation, or emotional noise control your direction. Each step, done quietly, with intention, adds weight to your foundation. And that foundation will be what protects your peace when life shakes again. If there's one truth the Stoic lived by, it's this. The mind is the fortress. You don't fix your life by fixing the outside. You fix it by becoming unshakable inside. That doesn't come from reacting. It comes from training. Every day. So start today. Write down the one rule that struck you the hardest. Apply it before the day ends. Then repeat tomorrow. You don't need motivation. You need consistency. You don't need to feel ready. You need to discipline your response, protect your energy, and lead yourself out. And if this message reached you, if you've lived through collapse and still decided to rebuild, share your story in the comments below. Someone might need your strength more than you know. Because broken doesn't mean finished. It means you've been given the rare chance to rebuild better than before. Stronger, quieter, clearer. And that, my friend, is how you fix a broken life, one disciplined decision at a time.